Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 picks for the characters who I believe had the most impact on the actual destruction of the ring, the defeat of Sauron, and the War of the Ring as a whole. I've thrown 3 honorable mentions in there who, a little memey, but overall, couldn't have done it without them. I mean, you couldn't imagine the story without these guys. Let's get into it. At honorable mention number 3, I have Bill the Pony. I mean, do I even have to defend this pick? When every single horse had bolted the night before Aragorn and the hobbits were leaving for Rivendell, it seemed like it was just meant to be. I mean, 12 silver pennies was a little bit much. He was old, he was raggedy, a little, careworn. He was past his good days. But I mean, that reunion with him and Sam at the end, it warms the heart. It really does. It really does. Honorable mention number 2 is Pippin. I mean, you may have a lot of questions about this pick. This may be a very controversial pick. He created a lot of problems for our boys on the way to Mordor.
Fool of a took.
However, when Merry was laying there dying in the Pelennor Fields, who saved him? Who brought him to the Houses of the Healing? And who ultimately allowed him to be healed from the Black Breath? Pippin. He saved Faramir from burning, which his own father was going to burn him alive on a pyre. Not good. And in the end, ultimately was the reason that Denethor got killed. Not the hero we knew we needed, but the one we really wanted. When Pippin was full of a tooking around and stole the Palantir from Gandalf, he actually tricked Sauron into believing that the ring bearer was held up in Isengard and that Saruman was him for his own pleasures and to actually get the ring for himself. Which, I mean, come on. Accidental A1 misdirection out of our boy here. Depending on how you look at it, Pippin was the sole reason Gandalf got an upgrade. Just saying. Overall, pretty much just became a legend by accident. Honorable mention number 1, Tom Bombadil. I mean, when the hobbits were going into the Old Forest, they had no clue what they were getting themselves into. Just general mischievous activities they had no idea were about to go down. He saved the hobbits twice in the Old Forest, once from Old Man Willow and the second time from the Barrow Wights, where the hobbits actually got their barrow blades. The same one that Merry would use later on in the story to kill, or not to kill, but to remove the curse from the Witch King, allowing Éowyn to kill him. Plus, anyone who read the books, you have to appreciate the anomaly that is Tommy B. Come on. All right, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes a little bit. At number 10, we have Merry Brandybuck, otherwise known as Meriadoc Brandybuck. Now, Merry, as I just pointed out, was the reason the Witch King was able to be killed. Whenever he stabbed him with the barrow blade in the back of the leg, he actually removed the curse that allowed him to be immortal. And then Éowyn... Merry was actually the initial reason why the 4 hobbits went into the Old Forest in the first place. He had more knowledge about the Old Forest and knew certain pathways to get in, which would ultimately save them time on their trip to Bree. If it wasn't for Merry's courage or his knowledge of the Old Forest, they would have had to take a trip around the Old Forest. They would have probably had to go 10, 20, 30 miles out of their way on the road, or could have got lost in the woods, Nazgul are after him. Not a pretty thing. You want the quickest and just the straightforward way to get through. Merry said, let's take the Old Forest. We got this. No problems. Had a couple problems, but in the end, all is well that ends okay. You can't really blame him. Not to mention, he used his name at the gate at Bree with the gatekeeper, Harry. He told him that his name was Brandybuck, and it was known in Bree that the Brandybucks were different than the other hobbits. I don't know if I'm allowed to use the Q word that is used in the books to describe the Brandybucks, but I think you know which word I'm talking about. It allowed for them to gain access to Bree without having any questions, because he was like, oh, the Brandybucks. Come on now. That's not weird. They're coming through here. There's a bunch of Brandybuck boys coming to see us at Bree. Number 9 is Elrond. Although he didn't do too much in the story, he played host to the Council of Elrond, which actually allowed the race of men, dwarves, elves, hobbits, the lot. They allowed them all to actually discuss what they want to do with the ring. And once they discussed what to do, throw it in the mountain, they needed to discuss who. It just was a good council to allow every race to get to say their piece and to elect a person to go on this journey to help destroy the ring, because there was only one way to do it. Also, it can't be overlooked that he raised a young Aragorn, the future King Elisar, to become who he was. He also held on to the shards of Narsil and therein reforged them whenever it was the proper time. He didn't do too much apart from hosting the Council of Elrond and reforging the sword and raising Aragorn and all that. Number 8, we got Galadriel. Now, Galadriel, well, just like Elrond, didn't do too much. She had her little section of the book or the movie where the things that she did were absolutely invaluable to the recovery and the sending off of our fellowship to Mordor. She allowed them to stay in Lorien for 3 days, allowing them to revitalize themselves mentally and physically. Not even to mention the gifts that she gave. And Sam's ropes, Sam's Lorien soil, the boats that she gave them so that they could get down Anduin rather than have to take the woods, especially whenever they were being tracked by orcs, or Uruk-hai, sorry. She gave Frodo the Light of Arendelle, which allowed them to make it through Shelob's Cave. Again, a part of the work that didn't go very well, but they made it through. They made it through in the end. But probably the most important thing that she gave the Fellowship was Limbus 100%. It fed the entire Fellowship for as long as they needed to. And while Frodo and Sam were in Mordor, I assume that it would have been extremely difficult to find food in a barren, desolate nothing that was Mordor. So that Limbus allowed for the entire company and Frodo and Sam specifically to complete their tasks. Number 7 is Treebeard. Number 7 and number 6, like number 4 and number 3, I didn't know whether to put who above who or who below who. But as I was making this video, I decided that the way that I have it is best, and I believe that Treebeard belongs in number 7. I mean, he saved Merry and Pippin in Fangorn, allowing both of them to do the heroic deeds that they did later on in the works. If he wouldn't have saved them whenever they ran into Fangorn, who knows what would have happened? Maybe Gandalf would have come upon him and saved him, but maybe not. Maybe the orcs would have got hold to him before Éomer and his boys finished him off. I mean, he led the attack on Isengard. The way that it happened in the book wasn't the exact same as it happened in the movie. I mean, in the book, he knew that Sauron was killing Ents and destroying trees. In the movies, Pippin had to do a little bit of mind games on him, but in the book, either way, he led the attack on Isengard. He rounded up all of his boys. They started chucking big rocks, and the only thing left standing at Isengard when he was done was Orthanc. The rest of it was submerged. He turned that into SeaWorld. Absolute legend. Number 6 is Theoden. I wanted to put Treebeard at 6 and Theoden at 7 originally, but as I was thinking about it a little bit more, Theoden had more multitudinous impacts than Treebeard did. Treebeard had his little section. Now, although Theoden was tripping when the 3 hunters and Gandalf arrived at Rohan, ultimately, he snapped out of it. He allowed Gandalf's wisdom to clear his mind a little bit. He snapped out of it in the end. He absolutely trounced the Uruk-hai at Helm's Deep. Thanks to Gandalf. We'll get into him a little bit later. But then he had the biggest assist in the muster of the Rohirrim. Although he didn't contribute much more than the defense at Helm's Deep and the absolutely golden assist at the Pelennor Fields, he went from a man who believed that he was a lesser son of greater sires, and ultimately he gave his life just trying to defend his people and defend the free world. All right, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Top 5. At number 5, we have Smeagol and Gollum. Now, Smeagol, there's not too much good to be said about him objectively. I mean, obviously, in the movies, he was a funny character. The lore pertaining to Smeagol can be quite despicable, but I can't overlook him as a guide, leading Sam and Frodo from Emyn Muil all the way to Cirith Ungol. They probably wouldn't have made it out of Emyn Muil. And if they did, they definitely wouldn't have made it through the Dead Marshes. I mean, their original idea was to go straight through the Black Gate. Are you serious, my brother? Smeagol and Gollum was a despicable character, no doubt about it. But as a guide, invaluable. You can't teach that navigational skills. You just can't. You gotta live 500 years and you just gotta know these things. Now, I'm definitely gonna get a little bit of hate for this one. But at number 4, we have Samwise Gamgee. He's the hero in the dark. At the end of the day, couldn't have happened without Sam. He carried him up Mount Doom like Stanley Yelnats, bro. The absolute commitment and the love that comes from this man, it's elite. It's absolutely elite. When Frodo got stung by Shelob, Sam was the one who grabbed the ring whenever the orcs of Cirith Ungol put him on the top of the tower and stripped him butt booty naked. Sam had the ring. kept the game going. He gave us a couple more OT minutes, Sam did. On a daily basis, was keeping the spirits high, talking about home, talking about
strawberries with cream,
talking about
rosy cup dancing,
as well as why they were doing what they were doing.
But there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.
Undoubtedly, the quest would not have been fulfilled without his optimism and his love for Frodo. I mean, he's the GOAT. Frodo would not have made it without Sam. He would have given up. He would have become the next Gollum. He would have taken it, slunk away into a cave for 500 years, and would have never been seen again. But because of Sam, stuck it out. At number 3, we have Aragorn, King Elisar, King Elfstone, the man who reunited the kingdoms of Gondor and Arnor, helped lead the hobbits to Rivendell. Gandalf's right-hand man, brought the most OP force in the army of the dead to attack the Corsairs of Umbar and absolutely destroyed them. Drew Sauron's attention away from Sam and Frodo by making a last stand at the Black Gate. They were completely outnumbered. There was no way that they were going to win that fight, but because he believed that Frodo and Sam were still going, he was like, we're taking the fight to them. Easy money. During the Battle of Moria, Helm's Deep, Minas Tirith, the Black Gate, put up crazy numbers, slew dozens and dozens and dozens of orcs at every single conflict. I mean, you put the thing in the boy's hand, nobody's safe. Could fight the king, the man, the myth, the legend. Easy. Now, number 2. Number 2 is Gandalf Greyhaim, Mithrandir. I mean, I don't have to explain, but I'm going to. He was sent by the Valar to help guide the people of Middle-earth to victory. Was said to be the strongest of the Istari. He was one of the members of the White Council, and in my opinion, the most well-rounded character on this list. You mix pity and temperance, which he learned from the Valar Niena, power and the wisdom of a wizard, the temperance of an archangel, pretty much. He was sent by the Valar to protect the world of men without being able to directly interfere, helped watch over and ensure the safety of the hobbits. Not to mention, he slayed the Balrog. He warned and helped gather the people of Rohan to defend against Sauron's orcs, and ultimately saved the day whenever he returned with Erkenbrand and his company of soldiers. Now, in the movie, it was Éomer that came back with his company of soldiers, but actually in the book, Éomer was imprisoned in Meduseld whenever the three hunters and Gandalf arrived, and whenever Gandalf had actually split away from Meduseld to go get help, he got the help of Erkenbrand and his company, who was one of the marshals of the Mark, who was thought to be dead because he had been ambushed by orcs, but Gandalf was like, nah, I know he's kicking around. I'm going to go find him. We're going to bring him back, and we're going to take this dub, boys. He was crucial in the defense of Minas Tirith whenever Denethor was on his... he was in his feels about his little family problems he was having. He was not doing a very good job of being the steward of Gondor, so Gandalf had to step up, makes him 2 for 2 in some of the most important battles in the War of the Ring. At the Black Gate, whenever Sauron was actually destroyed, he sent word to Gwaihir that Frodo and the boys needed to go get picked up. You know, that big eagle that comes in... Yeah, that's Gwaihir the Wind Lord, and Gandalf was like, yo, we're done here, but you gotta go pick up my boy because he's probably alive and he's probably wanting to go home. Enough said. Now, number 1. I think we all know where this is going because you haven't heard him on the list yet. And I think, based off of the facts that I'm going to give, I think this is undisputed number 1 most important character based off of the achievements that each one of them did to impact the overall ending of the War of the Ring and the defeat of Sauron. Number 1 is Frodo Baggins. It's literally said that by multiple people that they don't think anybody else could have possibly made it as far as Frodo did. Now, yes, whenever he got to Mount Doom and was standing where he needed to toss the ring,
the ring is mine.
Nobody could have destroyed the ring of their own volition. In the movies, Frodo and Gollum actually fight on the edge of that little walkway. During that altercation, they both fall over. Frodo hangs on, Smeagol falls down. In the books, what actually happens is when Gollum takes Frodo's finger off and steals the ring, he does a little victory dance. And he's too close to the edge, slips, falls in, GG's, game over. Obviously, it doesn't go that way in the movie, but either way, the ring wasn't thrown into the fire. It was an accidental slip, or it was a confrontation, a scuffle that ended with the ring in the fire. Either way, nobody could have, of their own volition, thrown the ring into the fire to end it all. I mean, he had the ring for what was it? Almost 15 years? He was actively defying the ring's power over him for almost 15 years. Like, whenever Bilbo had the ring, Sauron wasn't as active on Middle-earth. When Frodo had the ring, Sauron was active and he was actively looking for it. And for 15 years, but that last year really did a number on it. Nobody could have resisted as well as he did. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want me to do a different video on Lord of the Rings lore, any kind of thing, if you have any notes on this video, if you have anything you want to add, just put it in the comment section, and thank you for watching. See ya.